Have you ever wondered what secrets your neighbor might be hiding behind their seemingly normal facade? We encounter our neighbors daily, exchanging pleasantries, sometimes sharing a meal, maybe even lending a helping hand. But how well do we really know them? Beneath the mundane chit-chat and friendly smiles, could there be a darker side lurking? In the quiet sanctity of suburbia, behind the picket fences and manicured lawns, there often lies a hidden reality. A reality where the person living next door could be a monster in disguise, harboring secrets so unsettling they would make your skin crawl. Today we tread the thin line between the ordinary and the extraordinary, the safe and the dangerous, the known and the unknown. We will explore 3 true disturbing stories of neighbors who beneath their everyday appearance held shocking secrets. Prepare yourself as we delve into the chilling tales of 3 unsuspecting individuals and their horrifying encounters with their neighbors. Imagine being watched every waking moment, your neighbor, your silent observer, studying your every move. This tale begins in an ordinary suburban neighborhood, where our protagonist, let's call her Jane, moved into a charming little house. Jane was a friendly sort, always eager to meet new people and make connections. The neighbor across the street, however, was a different story altogether. He was an old man, seemingly harmless with his hunched back and slow gait. But there was something odd about him, something that made Jane's skin crawl. His eyes, they were always on her. Whether she was taking out the trash, watering her plants, or simply enjoying a cup of coffee on her porch, it felt like he was always watching. As days turned into weeks, Jane's unease grew. The old man's behavior escalated from silent observation to disturbing incidents. He would leave strange objects on her doorstep, items that had no place in her life, yet somehow, they were always things she needed. A spare key when she misplaced hers. An umbrella when the forecast predicted rain. It was as if he knew her life inside out, her routines, her habits, her needs. The chilling revelation came one cold winter night. Jane, having misplaced her phone, decided to use the Find My Phone feature. The map lit up, and to Jane's horror, her phone wasn't in her house. It was across the street, in her neighbor's house. She had never stepped foot into his house, never given him her phone. How did it end up there? The realization hit her like a ton of bricks. Her neighbor wasn't just a silent observer. He had invaded her life, her privacy, without her ever realizing it. Who would have thought that a simple hello from a neighbor could turn into a chilling tale of a silent observer? What if your neighbor's friendly gestures were masking sinister intentions? Imagine living next to a picture-perfect neighbor, always ready with a warm smile, constantly lending a helping hand, and seemingly the epitome of kindness. But what if beneath this facade of friendliness there lurks a dark secret? Our protagonist, let's call him John, moved into a quaint suburban neighborhood. His next-door neighbor, Mr. Smith, seemed like a godsend, always there to help with the gardening or offer a cup of sugar when needed. But as time passed, John started noticing peculiarities. Mr. Smith's warm smile seemed a tad too persistent, his eagerness to help, a bit too much. The friendly neighborly chats took on a chilling edge when Mr. Smith started asking oddly specific questions about John's routines, his work timings, even his house's security systems. One day, John came home to find his back door ajar. A shiver ran down his spine as he recalled Mr. Smith's probing questions. He had dismissed them as innocent curiosity then, but now, they took on a more ominous tone. Days turned into weeks, and the unease only grew. Late-night noises from Mr. Smith's house, strange shadows in his yard, and an unshakable feeling of being watched. John's idyllic neighborhood no longer felt safe. It was as if he was living in a perpetual state of suspense, waiting for the other shoe to drop. And then, one fateful night, it did. John discovered a horrifying truth about Mr. Smith that turned his world upside down. His seemingly friendly neighbor was not what he appeared to be. Without giving too much away, let's just say that Mr. Smith's sinister intentions were far from anything John could have ever imagined. Sometimes we are oblivious to the dangers lurking right next to us, hidden behind a veneer of normalcy. The people we trust, the places we feel safe can sometimes turn into our worst nightmares. A friendly smile can sometimes hide the most sinister intentions. Can you imagine discovering a dreadful secret hidden right next door? Our final tale takes us to the heart of a quiet suburban neighborhood, where our protagonist lived a life of comforting routine. Little did they know, their seemingly ordinary neighbor was harboring a chilling secret. This story begins, as most do, with a series of strange occurrences. Our protagonist noticed oddities that were impossible to ignore. a peculiar smell wafting over from next door, unusual noises at all hours, and the neighbors' strangely secretive behavior. But as humans often do, they brushed aside these signs, attributing them to an eccentric personality or unusual hobbies. However, as the days turned into weeks, the peculiarities morphed into alarming incidents. Items went missing from their yard, strange footprints appeared near their windows, and the neighbors' behavior grew increasingly erratic and unsettling. One day, their curiosity finally overcame their hesitation. They decided to confront their neighbor. The confrontation, however, quickly turned into a shocking revelation. The neighbor was a fugitive hiding from the law, and the protagonist's home had become an unwitting part of his hideout. The horror of this revelation was profound. The safety and security they felt in their own home were shattered. Their neighbor was not just an eccentric individual but a dangerous criminal. The peculiar smells, the strange noises, the missing items, all pieces of a terrifying puzzle that now made perfect sense. The protagonist alerted the authorities, leading to a tense standoff and eventual arrest of the neighbor. But they were left with the chilling realization that they had been living next door to a hidden terror. This experience forever changed their perception of their own home and neighborhood. Sometimes terror can lurk in the most mundane and unexpected places right next door. 3 stories, 3 neighbors, and 3 chilling encounters. We've journeyed down a path twisted by the dark shadows of humanity, where the everyday facades of our neighbors hide disturbing truths. Each tale, a chilling testament to the horrors that can lurk just next door, an eerie reminder of the unsettling unknown. First, we revisited the tale of the silent observer, a story that unfolded in the quiet humdrum of a suburban neighborhood, where the neighbor was more than just an innocent bystander. His obsession, hidden behind the veneer of a friendly wave or a casual conversation, culminated in a terrifying revelation. The mundane was twisted into a nightmare, a constant surveillance that robbed the victims of their peace and privacy. Then, we delved into the chilling narrative of the sinister intentions, a neighbor whose malevolent desires were cloaked under the guise of cordiality. The unsuspecting victims, lured into a false sense of security, found themselves ensnared in a web of deceit and danger. The neighbor, once a figure of trust, morphed into a menacing predator, their intentions as dark as the deepest abyss. And finally, we uncovered the hidden terror. A story that began with an unassuming neighbor, a person whose dark secrets were buried beneath a mask of normalcy. The terrifying discovery of their gruesome past sent shockwaves through the community, shattering the illusion of safety. The neighbor, a seemingly average individual, was unveiled as a monster, their true nature concealed within the confines of their home. As we reflect on these tales, a common thread weaves through each narrative: the unnerving reality of hidden secrets. These stories remind us that horror doesn't always lurk in the shadows or hide under the cloak of night. Sometimes it resides in the most ordinary places, concealed behind the most familiar faces. The people we think we know, the ones living right next door, can harbor secrets so dark they would send a chill down the bravest spine. But remember, these stories are not meant to breed paranoia, but rather to cultivate awareness. They serve as a reminder to stay vigilant, to be cognizant of the world around us. Because sometimes the signs are there, hidden in plain sight, and sometimes recognizing these signs can make all the difference. Remember, sometimes the real monsters are not under our beds but are living right next door. Until next time, keep your eyes open and stay safe.